Okay, lads, so welcome to my first ever whiteboard video. I'm hoping that this is a banger because I like doing stuff like this. Stuff like this is cool for me. So, without further ado, this is what the whiteboard is about. So, this is the NBA timeline, right? So, NBA timeline, it's all flowing forward, right? So for years, ever since the NBA was founded in 1946, the NBA timeline has been flowing quite nicely. Obviously, there's some discrepancies, like Will's 100-point game. It's debated whether it actually exists because reality is, my personal thought is that it's a lost echo from another timeline. And by that, I mean it's fake. So I don't think Will actually dropped 100 points, at least not in this timeline. So obviously, I don't have a line drawn or anything, but this can be a baseline. Line, okay, imagine this is the NBA timeline, right? Couple of discrepancies, couple of things that weren't supposed to happen have happened. You know what? That's how it is. That's how the timeline works. Sometimes we have discrepancies, right? Like, Michael Jordan just is a discrepancy, right? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar breaking the points record, right? Although pretty sure that was supposed to happen. LeBron James being born, that kind of stuff, right? Steph Curry revolutionizing the three-point shot, so stuff like that. With that said, up until this point in the history of the NBA, we have never seen a discrepancy, and I'm going to go out and say it's not a discrepancy, it's actually a break in the NBA timeline, right? It's a break in the NBA timeline, but by that, I obviously mean Bam Adebayo. 83-point game. So obviously we all know Kobe Bryant was supposed to drop 81 points in January of 2006, right? Kobe Bryant was that guy, okay? In my opinion, he's the third best basketball player to ever do it. So obviously the timeline, not too crazy if Kobe Bryant, who is a prolific scorer, one of the best scorers of all time, drops 81 points in a game, right? So, obviously that's not crazy to say, but this is Bam Adebayo, okay? He plays for the Miami Heat, and he is a career 20-point per game scorer, which is perfectly solid, perfectly feasible. Maybe you think that person may have like one, maybe two 50-point games thrown in there somewhere. But no. Okay, you see, Bam Adebayo broke the NBA by dropping 83 points. Now, it's debated on how he did it. He had a lot of free throws, whatever. Fact of the matter is, he dropped 83 points. Bam Adebayo dropped 83 points in a game, okay? And when this happened, it broke the NBA into countless different timelines. Now, by this I mean, of course, a timeline where the Knicks actually do win the NBA Finals, which is the timeline we're currently in. Of course, now the timeline always is going to correct itself, right? But for now, the timeline is completely broken, and I don't think it's ever been this shattered before. It's absolutely insane to think about. Bam Adebayo is the reason we have so many different timelines. And obviously timelines typically mean places LeBron's going to go, because obviously LeBron's not returning to the Lakers, at least in this timeline, so we don't know where he's going to go yet. But there's many different timelines. Or if they just think, maybe he'll go back to the Heat. Maybe he'll go back to the Cavs. Maybe there's a timeline somewhere where he stays on the Lakers, right? There's a timeline. There's a timeline where he goes to the Warriors. Right, so LeBron James landing locations, whatever, obviously different timelines. LeBron's that important, yes. Okay, so LeBron, obviously when Bam Adebayo created the flashpoint, the reality where he stays on the Lakers, which is what everybody assumed was going to happen, gets completely erased. Right, never happened, doesn't exist because of Bam. Obviously, the timeline we are living in, this is our timeline, this is our timeline, the one we are currently living in, and it will eventually course correct. But the events of this timeline that we are in will be permanent because this is the main timeline, even though we have a bunch of branch timelines where LeBron may play for the Heat, LeBron may play for the Cavs, LeBron may, whatever. Our timeline got busted because one of the alternate timelines from the way distant past, maybe from when Michael Jordan three-peated the second time, merged into this one when Bam dropped 83 points, and that led to the Knicks' first title in 53 years. Okay? Crazy stuff, right? No one saw the Knicks winning the title. Because that's what happens sometimes. The timeline will always correct itself. So, Michael Jordan, gatekeeping the Knicks for all those years in the 90s, eventually finally found its way back into our main timeline, and that led to the Knicks winning the finals. Right, and that's what happens when the canon is broken. Bam drops 83, completely shatters the canon, right? So, say Michael Jordan after gatekeeping Ewing and all those guys, it doesn't matter anymore because it finally reunited with our main timeline where the Knicks do indeed win a championship. Okay, so the Knicks win the title. So now we have craziness. Like, what timeline do you think Jaylen Brown, and this is our current timeline, Jaylen Brown gets traded to arguably their biggest rivals, the Philadelphia 76ers, for cookies, okay? He just placed 6th in MVP voting. He was like 3rd in the league in scoring. Like, how can you justify trading Jaylen Brown for nothing? Right. And this is what happens when you have a broken timeline. Things make stupid decisions. But because it's broken, but it's our main timeline, obviously, it's permanent. So Jaylen Brown's on the Sixers now. Giannis got traded to the Heat. Right? It's another example. And although the Heat did give up literally their entire team to get him, which is very realistic, Giannis leaving the Bucks to begin with a team he led to a championship is already crazy in our broken timeline. LaMelo Ball, after the Hornets just made the playoffs, they're prepped for a big offseason to maybe make some moves to become a contender. They trade their best player, LaMelo Ball, to the Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves have never won a championship. So now you think that move sets up the Minnesota Timberwolves to become an actual contender. Right? Crazy stuff. So many things are happening thanks to Bam and what he did with his 83-point game, And it's just insane. And obviously, we don't know where LeBron's going to go in our timeline yet, but maybe some timelines he's already signed with Heat, maybe sometimes he's already signed with the Cavs. And those timelines will eventually unite at some point in the future, maybe with a Cavs championship, maybe with a Heat championship, maybe with another Warriors dynasty. Who knows what might happen? But the point is, when you have a broken timeline, you create things that have permanent, immediate effects, and then timelines that will eventually reunite to have effects at different points in the timeline. So at some point in the future, we may have a Warriors dynasty, we may have a Cavs dynasty. It just depends on what happens in those other timelines. Maybe the same thing will happen in those other timelines, although that is very unlikely because most of the time when you have a timeline breakage, a billion different things happen. So in the current timeline we are living in, Giannis is on the Heat. Maybe there's a timeline Giannis never left the Bucks. Jaylen Brown's on the Sixers. Maybe there's a timeline Jaylen Brown got traded to someone else, right? So thanks to Bam, the Knicks won the finals. Jaylen Brown got traded to the 76ers. Giannis is gone from the Bucks. LeBron is a free agent. Everything insane is happening all at once, and it is all thanks to Bam Adebayo. Thank you for watching my whiteboard, and I hope all of you can see, as I see, that Bam Adebayo is fully responsible for the amount of chaos that has ensued on the NBA this season. It's only going to get worse, guys.